Hello, lovely ladies. How are you today? It's Dawn here from the House of Preeminence. A few years ago, I watched my next door neighbour go from being a very, very active lady. I would see her in the garden doing her Tai Chi. I would see her with a big backpack on her back, hiking off into the Peak District. I used to live in the UK before I set off around the world, so I had the biggest back garden in the country, right on the edge of the national parks. As each day passed, I noticed she wasn't showing up in her garden very often. I missed having my morning coffee, watching her, and the way she would turn around and just give me a small wave and a big smile. I'd miss seeing her walk across the front of my property with her big backpack. I started to wonder why. So I went round to see her. We had a cup of tea and she told me she'd got motor neuron disease. Now, this lady was an incredible lady. She was always giving back to other people. And I wanted to do something. So I arranged, and this was back in 2009, when I organised a fashion and lifestyle event, the first of its kind in Sheffield, which was the city that I lived in. We raised over $24,000. We had Dior sponsor us. We had lots of local businesses sponsor us. I became a founding patron of the Sheffield Institute of Translational Neurosciences. I love the brain, it's a powerful thing. But sometimes the brain can trick us, and we want to absorb so much, or we don't want to absorb anything. But the beauty of the brain is it always picks up on stuff, as our soul always picks up on energy. We can feel different kinds of energy. We know when someone's had an argument, we know when they've had a bad passionate kiss. We can tell when our children have been up to mischief and they're trying to hide something. We also know when there is something off in our relationships, whether they're romantic, professional, or personal relationships. And it's about listening to that. Now, doing the fashion and lifestyle show wasn't enough. I wanted to understand as much as I possibly could what it was like for Kathy. And so I put an idea out there, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do a 2-mile open water swim. It was my first ever one that I'd ever done. And so I started training and training. But one of the things I knew, that if I did not register for that swim, if I did not pay the money, if I did not put skin in the game and make an investment, then it was unlikely that I would stick to the training schedule, no matter how much I wanted it, no matter how much I wanted to do it. And it was the same with the fashion and lifestyle event. I also donated my own money, not just my time, but also my own money. Investing that money into not only registering for the Great Swim, the Great North Swim in the UK in Lake Windermere, but also investing money in a trainer. What I realised was it held me accountable. I valued the experience a lot more. I showed up for every training session. I bought the best swimsuit and the best wetsuit, because Lake Windermere, those of you who know the lakes in the UK, you know they're in the north, and you know it's cold, regardless of what time of year. I also didn't find out what was in the water. That was just never going to be a thing. But you see, the thing is, when we put a monetary value on something, as Karen, our money expert, tells us, and she's very good, by the way, she is very good. When we put money to something, we're assigning value to it. Now, one of the things I realized at the very beginning was even though I had always invested in coaching, I'd always invested in my personal development. I always realized that the more I invested, the better the results. And I also realized that there are going to be times in my life when I actually want to get to another level. I want to step up. I want to change the game. And sometimes that figure that I want to invest is not quite there yet. And that's okay, because I know that I'm still covering everything. I also know that if I'm looking at a coach and that coach does not have a coach, I'm not investing in that coach. I don't care how good they are. I don't care how good their rave reviews are. If they do not currently have a coach, then I'm not investing with them. It really is that simple. Because a coach without a coach, it kind of doesn't sit well with me. Because there are so many different areas of our life that we can be enhancing. At one moment we may have a business coach. Another time we might have a health and fitness coach. We might have a money coach. We might have a styling coach. We might have a public speaking coach. We might have a relationship coach. There are so many different coaches out there. And one of the things that we need to do is we need to invest. Because without the investment, without the skin in the game, without that accountability of handing over that money, it's unlikely that we're actually going to value the gifts that are in it. And it's unlikely we're going to discover the true gifts that's within ourselves. I remember when I was out running with a friend when I was in Australia, one of the things he said was that he wanted to do a marathon. And I was like, okay, why don't you do it then? He goes, well, I can't afford it. And I was like, what do you mean you can't afford it? He said, well, I can't afford it. To do a marathon, I'm going to need to hire a coach. Now, we're running at this point. I said, well, you're running with a coach now. And he was like, huh? What? I was like, you're running with a coach now. I might not be a running coach. And trust me, years ago, if you'd have seen me running, you'd have started running because you knew that I didn't like running. Sometimes I have to force myself to run. But right now, I'm looking forward to quarantine rules being lifted here in Argentina because I am so gagging for a run. But the point is, this guy had not seen what was right there in front of him. He had not taken the opportunity to see the value of what was there with him. When I asked him, how much do you think it's going to cost you to start training for that marathon? And we worked through the prices. He was actually really quite surprised just how much of an investment he was going to have to make. He also didn't realize the people that were in his space that could actually take him to the marathon that he wanted to run. It brings me back to the magazine. A lot of you are reading the magazine. A lot of you are gaining great value from it. And I wonder whether any of you realize just how much goodness you're really getting. Because sometimes we all have a blind spot. And sometimes we flick through pages of a magazine. I'm guilty of it myself. I've done this myself. I've been so excited to just get the magazine. Like, oh my God, this is amazing. But it's not until sometimes we slow down and we actually give and dedicate time to ourselves to actually absorb the content right in front of us. It's like being a mother. Some of us are so busy being a mother, so busy keeping the household together, so busy managing jobs that we very often forget to just stand and watch our children, to take a step back, to really value them. I was talking with my children this morning, and even though it is via a Zoom call, well, this morning it was via Skype, just sat there looking at my son. And we were talking about a new pair of trainers that he needs. And I was like, okay, which ones do you want? And what size are you? He told me he was a 6.5. And I was like, what? How did you get to be a 6.5? Now, how is that even possible? And the thing is, he's grown so much since I last saw him. Being in person with him, since the last time I bought him a pair of trainers. Now, don't get me wrong, I do enjoy buying my children trainers. If there's one thing I love, it's shopping for trainers. But the thing is, we all grow so quickly. We all evolve so very quickly that sometimes we don't actually take a stock. One of those moments of just being and seeing what's truly in front of us and really dedicating the time to something, to our personal growth, of investing in it. We get excited about the magazine, we see the beautiful pictures, we see these wonderful articles, and we read through them, busy, busy, busy. But it's not until we sit down and absorb each article and reflect on each word, each sentence, each paragraph, and go, wow, actually, where I am right now, this is actually really valuable for me. Instead of, oh, when I get to where I'm going, this will be valuable. Because we're already where we all need to be to receive all the lessons within the magazine. And it's not just the House of Preeminence. It's the articles that we read in business magazines, in health magazines, in lifestyle magazines. So my invitation to you this week is, before you pick up this month's copy of the House of Preeminence, just take a moment to get present to who you are, to the skin that you've put in the game, to the investment that you're making in yourself. Really get present to who you are right here, right now. Get present to your business right now. Do a stock take on everything, on every area of your life. And then I invite you to then pick up the magazine and read each article, listen to each podcast, listen to each gift, or watch each video. Do it one by one. Set a time each week just for you, your preeminent moments, a meeting with your preeminent self. Get your journal and go through each article, like I said, and each piece of soul food, and write down as you're listening, or write down as you're reading, what's coming up for you. Because this magazine is living, breathing, juicy greatness. And those of us who are on board with the House of Preeminence, we're gifting this to you right now. Those of you who have not yet subscribed, I invite you to do so. I invite you to put a commitment to yourself. I invite you to commit to your preeminent self. Subscribe now and enjoy the commitment that you make to yourself. Our next issue is going to come with a price tag. And that price tag is going to be a gift that you give to yourself. Those of you who are truly preeminent will invest. You will invest in yourself. You will invest in your learning. You will invest the time and the effort and the stock taking each article, each video, and each download will give you. Let's rise together, ladies. Let's embody the preeminence of all of who we are. Let's put some skin in the game. Let's add value to ourselves and to our learning. Let's assign that value. And let's rise. Let's lead other ladies to greatness by leading ourselves, by by setting an example, leading by example. Because when we lead ourselves first to preeminence and to greatness, and to all the other juicy elements of being preeminent, when we lead ourselves first, then others have got a role model to lead and work with. I hope that you'll accept my invitations this week. I really hope you're enjoying everything that life is gifting to you right now, enjoying the gratitude moments, and I look forward to hearing and commenting and chatting with some of you very soon. Take care of yourselves, be preeminent, and sending you much love. Ciao for now.